What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. So today we're getting a late start on doing anything. I really don't have much to do, but I figured I'd do something. My brother ended up hitting me up a couple of hours ago, and I figured let's go ahead and record it. Let's do something with it. You know what I mean? Let's make a video on it and just show you guys. So my brother ended up hitting me up. If you guys know who my brother is, it's Tazzy. He is the owner of the Civic Wagon that we put a K24 in, and that's on Nitrous. He's had some issues with it in the last couple of months, and it's just been running really rough. So he finally took it up north, up to Dana Young Static, and they ended up doing a new manifold to it, new fuel lines, and also putting coilovers and also a new engine harness, just to help roll out a lot of the situations. So huge shout out to Dana for coming through, helping him out, and just helping him out with everything, the coils and also the wire harness, because it honestly needed it. So now the car's back. He recently had more issues again with it. Same issue that has been revolving, which is, you know, it's just breaking up. It's like the injector is failing. So what he ended up doing is that he ended up taking the injectors to RC and over here in Torrance. They do a lot of big injector stuff. So they ended up checking them out and come to the conclusion of that the injectors are faulty, that it was only shooting at, two of them were only shooting like at 300 psi, and they're 1000cc injectors. So instead of being 1000 cc's, there was only 300 cc's that it was really shooting, and so they had a little bit of damage to it. So they ended up working with them, fixing them, and the car is up and running again. They did a new tune to it with KV, and it's on E85 now. So he's hoping that everything is gonna maintain it. So he ended up hitting me up because he wants to kind of put a catch can on the car, and he doesn't have any valve covers or any of that stuff. So I figured I'd make him one and he can just reimburse me for it. So I have the 10-10 AM bungs here. I do have a valve cover here. What I'm going to go ahead and do real quick is pretty much clean it up real quick, degrease it, and then we're going to go ahead and dry it up and get it drilled out and put new bungs on. So let's go ahead and get to it, guys. It's probably gonna be a short video because today is gonna be an eventful night, because I do go live with a gentleman called Wolfpack Performance, but we'll get into that at the end of the video. So let's get to bunging up this valve cover for a catch can setup. We degreased the valve cover now. It's dry. It's a little wet still, actually, so I'm gonna dry it a little bit more. I'm probably gonna bring out the heat gun so I can dry out a little bit of the water, but pretty much dry for the most part. Now what I want to do is take off some of the factory coating from the valve cover. This is what I like to use. It doesn't really eat the metal, and it doesn't, using the grinder, it kind of like eats into it, and when you powder coat it, it looks like shit. So I'm not gonna try to do that with this. So we're gonna use this thing here. There's Brillo pad. I call it Brillo pad. I don't know what the fuck it's really called, but we're gonna use this, and take off a little bit of the coating from the original valve cover. Alright, so you can see how it just removes the coating and it doesn't like dig in and score the metal so bad. So what I'm thinking about doing is putting one right here and then the other one, so one will be right here in the front and then the other one will be right here in this area. So that's where I'm hoping it will land, so that way the embedded part will be able to sit flush with the front of the valve cover and it won't go anywhere else. So let's go ahead and drill these out. And what I'm going to use is this 7/8 drill bit. This is what I use to drill the hole. So I'm hoping it'll land straight, go in and get it. So same thing here. So let's just go ahead and drill it and we'll see how it goes. So one thing I hate about it is that pull it back out. So hopefully get the other one done now. It should be perfectly on there. Jesus Christ. So that was hot metal. So what I'm going to do now is clean it, blow it out, make sure nothing stays inside before we start welding it, and I'm going to clean this back up to clean the edges. of contamination on it. Try to blend it in as much as I possibly could, but not really adding too much filler, but it is fully welded down, kind of blended in, so we're good to go. So let's go ahead and take this to the damn water hose so we can cool it off. You guys can do this actually with aluminum. I've done it plenty of times with charge pipes and everything, where I wet it with the aluminum and it'll cool it down. So some people may say that this is not right to do with aluminum and stainless steel. I don't do it with stainless steel. I've always done it with aluminum. I've done it with all the charge pipes that I've welded. I've always wet it if I wanted to touch it again, like really quick, and put it onto the car instead of having to wait for it to cool down and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, one of the bungs did move on me when I was welding it. It's a little bit crooked, but it's all right. I point out my flaws just so that people can see it, that I'm not perfect, man. You know, I made a mistake and my brother can deal with it. But yeah, bungs are all welded up, man. Guys, so pretty much everything is all done. All the welding is done for now. I can't remove this. I got on FaceTime right now with my brother and we're going to be removing this, but I need to apply heat to it so we can slide it out, because this is galvanized metal, I believe. So I got to pull this out, so I got to apply heat to it, and then I'll cover it up with this, weld this on it, chop it and make it flush. But pretty much all this is done. I also ended up grinding off the Honda logo that's here as much as I could without digging into the metal, so that the rest of it my brother's going to take care of after I get this pulled out and welded up. But pretty much that's going to be pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. A little thing that just arrived right now is huge shout out to the homie Juan, K24 Wagon on Instagram. He ended up hooking me up with these Lego Hot Wheels, and these are pretty hard to find here. They're usually scalped and taken by all the scalpers. Usually when they come in case, they're usually gone the same day. So he ended up hooking me up with 2 EF ones and a S2000 one. I also have the Suki one from the Fast and Furious, and I believe I have the Skyline one. I was going to open one up and kind of assemble it, but I kind of want to keep them in the packaging now until we decide to move, or when we decide to move and buy our own house. I can have them as display pieces, put them up in a cabinet or something, and have them for display. But pretty much, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. As I stated in the beginning of the video, by the time you guys see this, it'll be the day after. But I will be going live today with Wolfpack Performance and Albert from Carbon Trends, the one that makes our carbon fiber hoods for the CRX, hatchback, sedans, and wagons. We're going live with them because we are going to be addressing a small issue that has arisen in the last couple of months with Robert of Hush Performance. Robert from Hush Performance was calling Jack Spania out and Bull Boost for being copycats of a product that he sells, and what I ended up calling them out on Instagram, or on basically on the post, stating that why wasn't Hush Performance included in that also? Why is he just not including himself? And the main reason why I did that was because Robert recently released, or is releasing, a K20 style hood for the CRX and hatchback. It's the exact same design of the one that Albert from Carbon Trends produces, and formerly known as Fiber Images. And so back then, little bit of history is that Robert used to be a distributor for Albert about 7 years ago, and within that time frame, Albert and him had some issues where they couldn't meet up with demand, because Robert was doing pre-orders for like 30 hoods, you know, and expected Albert to be able to do that in 1 month time, only being him and his father at the time. And there's just no way that production can be met, along with my orders, along with the side orders that he had for other hoods that he does produce and other stuff that he did produce. So there was no way that demand can be met, and they had a fallout. He got all his products still, and they decided to go their own separate ways. Literally 2 weeks after, or a week after, Robert decided to go ahead and pop a mold out of the original hood, of one of the original hood fiberglass hoods that he had in that order. And he ended up making a mold on it, and quote unquote, in his words, stating that he was practicing vacuum infusing on that hood, and that's the reason why he created the mold, so that way he can practice. In my eyes, why wouldn't you practice on something different, smaller, so you can get the form of it, you know, the knowledge of it, and you don't waste that much material, especially on a big hood.
And then he also states that he re-engineered the hood to fit an RBC manifold on the K20 on the high setting. And truth be told is that the K20 hood has always cleared an RBC manifold. You see that the same structure on Dana's fits his K20 with an RBC manifold, or Skunk 2 Ultra. The Wagon fits it. Every single one of these hoods, the K20 always fit an RBC manifold. They do usually have more trouble fitting like a center feed and so on and so forth because they're a lot bulkier, especially the Skunk 2 Ultra Race manifold. Those and Gatos, those are all the ones that are harder to fit in it, but you can get it to fit with a small modification. And what Robert stated was that the hood never cleared an RBC manifold for a K20, which was a complete lie. The structure and the frame is all the same. Basically, he did do a modification to the frame, just pulling it a little bit forward, about an inch, quarter of an inch, half an inch, and that's basically the only thing that he did. And in my eyes, when you re-engineer something, you try to make it better to the consumer, right? And if he would have created, say for instance, the K24 style hood, like how we created, that would have been a total different design because it is a K24 hood now. So what he did is a direct copy, making the same type of mold from the top end and just kind of tweaking the frame area. And that's all he really did. And in time, we made our own decisions to cater to the community, and that's why we came out with the K24 one. Why? Because we didn't want to tell people you have to run your engine on a low setting, especially with the K24, and put your engine at risk being so close to the ground. So we decided to go ahead and make it. So if Robert would have did the exact same thing before we did the K24, that would have been called re-engineering because you're making it safer. But what Robert is doing is still trying to promote it as a K20, K24 hood and putting your guys' engine at risk, which I truly don't believe that you should do. Who wants to see their customer's engine get smacked by the road and call it a day? You get what I'm saying? I don't believe in that, which is why we decided to come out with the K24. But either way, tune in. If you guys haven't, I'm pretty sure Wolfpack will keep it on his Instagram and you guys can watch the whole live there. I'll put his link in it and everything so you guys can see it, and that way you guys can follow it. But again, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully today we can set the story straight on the K20 hood and show that it is a copy and not a re-engineered hood, and state a couple of facts that I do have on it. But with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, follow along for more progress on the all-wheel drive and even progress on my brother's wagon, and see what we do next. But with that being said, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.